Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, that is a good pop. Excellent.
Little wood stopper on it.
Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful. We've got a guest on tonight's podcast. Dave, would you like to introduce
We
him?
do. It's James Sommerlad from, well, can we say you're from Mount Pleasant Club Whisky, James? Are we allowed to say that? Or we just say you're from HP Bottle?
I'm not. I'm importing their first barrel to Australia. And I want to make more of them in, but I'm representing them, I guess, and I want to see these guys in Australia.
Amazing.
Fantastic. More bourbon in Australia. That sounds good to me. And tonight we get to taste it.
Absolutely. Cheers. Cheers to you, James.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Tell us, what have we got in here? What have we got in our glasses here? What is this?
Single cask. It was 4-grain mix. So we had barley, some winter red wheat rye, bit of yellow corn. They've kept that right down, and some unmalted rye. So 5 years, 7 months in the barrel, 50.7% ABV. It's about it. It's proper 750ml bottle.
Yeah, beautiful.
I love the bottle.
Ml,
I love the
500
specific 5 years, 7 months.
Beautiful.
You don't normally see the amount of months on a bottle. That's great.
Well, we added the months because it took us so long to make this happen.
Yeah.
The clock was ticking.
Yeah. Those 7 months mattered.
Amazing. Well, this is amazing. So it's from the Mount Pleasant Club Whisky, which is Washington, D.C. Can you tell me a bit about the distillery?
Yeah, so what these guys did, Troy and John, during COVID, they decided to reboot the brand, which is a pre-Prohibition brand of Mount Pleasant Club Whisky. He actually wrote a book about it, which is an astonishing read. And what they did, they started to source the best casks they could find in DC. And then they started to bottle it and pay real historic respect to the streets of Mount Pleasant. My favourite one was, this is quite similar to, was their Brown Street bourbon. That's got me hooked.
Yeah.
And they just keep finding the best they can, release it all named by street in the suburb. But this particular one, when I met them and we really remarked on the similarities in our suburbs, I said, we need this in Australia.
Can you paint the picture for us? Where's I've never been to Mount Pleasant that I'm aware of in DC. What kind of area is it?
When you said tonight that we're tasting a whiskey from Mount Pleasant, I was like, isn't that near Wollongong?
But it's not. We're talking about the one in DC.
So Mount Pleasant, due north of the White House, up 16th Street, drive for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and you're in Mount Pleasant, next to the zoo. It's a very leafy suburb, very community focused, very blue, and it's very similar to Hurlstone Park. So when we did this house swap together, which is how we sort of came across each other, we both realised our suburbs were so similar, the community vibe. And when I got the opportunity to bring this bottle into Australia, they suggested, let's pay respect to the history of Hurlstone Park. And we picked the name Fernhill Station. That's the old name of Hurlstone Park Station, which our suburb had to get renamed. You've read the story on the label. And I got the artwork from a Ukrainian artist who's local to Hurlstone Park, Dmitry. And that still fell in line with what these guys were doing in DC.
Yeah.
They were supporting Ukraine. They were supporting the history of their suburb. And we pulled that together to make a whiskey for us.
Yeah,
so good.
It's amazing. I'm getting really beautiful grainy notes on my nose.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's got this, lovely, on the mouthfeel is lovely as well. It's kind of got a beautiful roundness to it. Really nice. Did you get to help pick the barrel yourself?
Wow, so that's the best bit. I got sent 6 samples of 6 different casks.
Oh, fun.
And I got to pick the cask. I got one of my good mates through the bar that I met. He runs Eureka Distilling. He helped because he's quite good at tasting and smelling.
Knows a bit more than what we know about it.
He knows what he's talking about.
You lean on him. And he helped me blind taste it. And we all landed on the same one.
Oh, fantastic.
Then once we selected it, they sent me over more samples of that cask. And my mate Phil helped me cut it down to different ABVs.
Yep.
Again, we blind tasted. We had 47.7. We had 50.7 and 53.7. And blind tasted, we all ended on 50.7. So it was
so cool.
It was really cool.
What a cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's matured. The cask itself didn't come to Australia. It was kind of identified as an Aussie. This is going to be an Aussie bottle.
Yeah.
But aged completely in the US. So it's definitely bourbon-y bourbon.
100% in Washington D.C. What I love about D.C. and bourbon is the temperature fluctuations that D.C. gets, which really Kentucky doesn't get on the same level. You've got minus 20 in winter, and you've got 35 and steamy in summer. And so that gives that cask a huge transition to work through. And I just found a nice depth in this, a smoothness.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful smooth finish to it.
I've had a few sips. That's the first bottle I opened. I've restrained.
How many bottles have you got?
Yeah,
132.
132.
And where can people get them?
Yeah. And how do we get our hands on it? Yep.
So I'm launching it. This is almost a bit of a tease. I'm actually launching it on the 10th of July at the bar at
very
HB Bolo.
soon.
I'm actually going to have Troy from DC in Australia visiting.
Oh, fantastic.
So we're all going to talk about it. And about 40, 50 people turning up for the event. There'll be bottle sales there. But why I did this was I used to work in finance and went to lunch a lot. And you'd get to the end of lunch, and you'd go through the fine menu, and you'd get 2 or 3 pages of Scotch whiskey.
Yep.
And the last page was bourbon, and there were 3.
Yep. Been there.
We know this story.
This is a very common story.
So I thought, why aren't these restaurants doing better? Is it they haven't got access to it, haven't tasted it? So my goal is to try and get the restaurants to do better and start respecting bourbon a bit more rather than just the off-the-shelf Jack Daniels and the Buffalo Trace. And
well, there's an incredible variety out there. And there's sort of, there's your great go-tos, which they seem to have, but there's so much more and so many amazing flavours.
Because we probably did a rubbish job of introducing you, actually. So the backstory that James brings is that there's this great story, which we're going to cover off properly when we've got a bit more time in another episode, but the great story about how this came to be. But you're also co-owner and in the HP Bolo, which is it's a bar, a community bar in where Fernhill Station kind of originally was. That's what
it's 30 metres away.
30 metres. There you go.
And so we are a community. The people around us helped make this happen. The artist, Dimitri, he was so kind to let me use his image. So it was a process. You design your label, you select your whiskey, your bourbon, your cask, and then you pick the bottle, you write the story. 2 years.
Yeah. It's the stories behind it that I love. And the people who make it have great stories, but now there's all these other stories of the people bringing it to Australia and it's great.
Well, I realise why they don't do it.
It's hard.
It's hard work. So we know of a few people who bring in single barrels or they do their own barrel picks from the massive distilleries. So we know that's happened before. But a collab that's gone so far as to have the Aussie artwork with an Aussie location on the front of the bottle. This must be. Do you think it's the first time this has happened that where it's really an Aussie bourbon expression in this really interesting way?
Yeah, we think it is. We've wanted to fill a space in the market. I had the opportunity. I had the networks, the people to support me. I understood the licensing part of things from my old banking backgrounds.
Yeah.
But what I noticed, there's no manual to tell you how to do it. You just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Have a
when
crack
it hasn't
at it.
been done before, you got to.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if you can get your hands on one of those 132 bottles of this Fernhill Station, this is well worth getting your hands on. And James, we want you to have you back and talk a bit more about the story, because there's an unbelievable story about how this project came to be.
Yeah,
so,
behind every good bourbon, there's a good story.
Oh, well, and this one's a belter. So stick around for that one. We'll have that James back to do another episode soon. But James, thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for sharing this pour with us. Cheers.
Yeah, enjoy.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.